Hi Keith, great to meet up with you at the range and do some further work on your swing. Just keep an eye on a few things that we covered in the first session, and obviously it was very much similar to what we've done in the past, but a more diluted version of it. It was to do with the path of the hands from setup to waist level, and it was also to do with the way that we set up from face on down the bottom of the screens, and the effect that that has on the way the legs work during the golf swing. So what we're seeing here from face on at the start are both feet very square. So both feet angled. This one's actually angled inwards more, which has a direct effect on the knees. The knees now are kinked in, which makes it difficult for the hips to work properly during the backswing. So on the way back now, what we're going to find is that the knees work too much. Beg your pardon. No, that last little blip, the knees work too much this way during the backswing. So as we play this swing through, we're going to see tremendous drive of the knees away from the target, so the leg action gets very sort of what we would class as flimsy. See that lead knee collapsing, that trail knee moving out towards the back wall of the studio. Arms get a little bit sloppy as well at the top. So the first change we made, or the first change we discussed, was the movement of the feet. We've got the feet turned out about 15 degrees. You cannot turn the left foot out enough at this stage. That has an effect on the knees. The knees are now turned outwards, not quite as much as the feet, but turned outwards, freeing up the hips, making for a much better leg action during the backswing. And as you free up the hips, the left arm can travel more. This felt like a sort of a half swing, but you see how much more solid that leg action is at the top, simply due to the positioning of your feet and the subsequent effect on the hips and the movement in the left arm. So much more solid backswing on the bottom centre screen. The other thing we discussed was the path of the hands. What we were seeing here early in the piece was a hand path that was too much up too soon. So you can see as you start the takeaway, the hands work up too soon, so there's too much upward movement, and the hands get very much above plane. And now you've got a battle on your hands, because if you stay there, you're going to pull it and cut it. If you attempt to get the club back on the inside, there's a whole host of bad shots waiting for you when you make that transition, especially when you get a little bit tired in your round or your timing's not quite on. So hands working up too soon during the takeaway. And if we look at what better players do, what we see are hands that trace that lower line for longer before elevating onto the higher line. So we see the hands working in more. And if we trace that arc on the floor, what we would end up with is a line sort of round here that the hands would follow, which is what this club on the mat here is doing, and what my club here is encouraging you to do. So we take our model player and move him back to where we want you at waist level, and we look at your rehearsal swings whilst doing this drill. So I'm trying to just prevent your hands from lifting at that point. So there's a marked difference in the way the body works and the path of the hands. I'm just going to rehearse that one more time. So much better path of the hands in the early part of the backswing, much closer to you, much lower. That was some of the feedback that you gave. And basically staying on the circle for longer. When it came to the shot, you can see there now that whilst it's not the finished article, it is moving in the correct direction. So key thoughts are to turn both feet out and to work the hands in as much as possible during the takeaway. One particular thing I would say is that whilst the turning of the feet, the turning out of the feet may feel strange at first, and certainly your perception of things when you look down at the golf ball is different. When you look at the difference in these two setups, I'm just going to get rid of these other screens for now. and let you have a look at these from face on, because I really want you to focus on this setup position above all else, because it's going to make it easier for the hands to come in. Look how much more solid that setup on the right looks, much more athletic, much more ready to go than the one on the left. And the subsequent leg action from there was night and day. So good luck with it. Look forward to getting your feedback, and I will see you up at the club at the weekend. Well done.